before. Now, back to Silver Moments with Dr. Marsha Baltimore.
Okay, I told you about ad litem. Now, what that means is a person who's a guardian appointed by the court. Sometimes it's a lawyer, sometimes a banker, and that person is notified by the court to make decisions affecting the child's best interest, education, health, welfare. In some cases, the court may appoint one grandparent if the other family does not object. If there are a lot of objections, then they get a lawyer or a banker or someone that the court knows about who's done it before for people, and the families would not know that person. So the grandparents have a responsibility when there's a divorce, and that is to stop disputing and stop fighting and stop blaming. This is not a blame game now. The children have to know that you as a grandmother or a grandfather love them and don't hold this divorce against them. Children often get the feeling of guilt that they did something to cause it. Don't get into that trap. That's the blame game. Just think of things you want to do with this child to make his life or her life a little bit more fun and beneficial. So be wary that there is the court control ad litem, that they could put someone for a decision legal maker, that the court will put the child in the placement it deems the best. And the court order has to be obeyed also by the parents. Now, what are we going to do when somebody from out of the family or a distant family member starts the blame game with you? That could happen. They could say, it's your fault this and that happened. 5 years ago you went here and the husband went there. You should have never done it. The way people do those kinds of things. You have to learn how to be a stiff upper lip person and ignore it and don't argue and don't fuel the fire and don't fuel the spouse of the parent or your child. So here's some things to look for. When a same person calls you on the phone with personal questions about your case, don't answer the questions. Oh, I have a caller, and then I'll finish what I was saying. Hello, sir. Your name is Bob.
Hey, doctor. Thank you for taking my call. How are you?
Sure, I'm fine, thank you. What can I do for you?
You're talking about grandparents, and I just would like to say, when I grew up, my mother had to work, so I was brought up by my grandparents a great deal of the time.
Good for you.
And, well, yeah, it was a good experience, because at the time I probably did not think so, and I probably did not agree with them. But I think we're all like that. But the one thing, the values and their morals over the passing years has proved to be very, they understood exactly what was going on. They understand true values and what a human being really meant and what they had to learn. And I think a lot of us ignore that, and they just brush it off, and they want to do their own thing. But growing up with good values and a good instruction and good direction, I think is very important.
I think you're right. You just nailed it. And were your parents divorced, or your mother was working?
Well, yeah,
Why?
my parents were divorced, and my mother was a single mom. She was a divorced mom. She was working 2 jobs, and I was living in my grandparents' house. Well, she was as well.
Oh, well, your mother was there. Okay, I see how it goes.
She was there, but I mean,
That's common. That's common.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. But of course, they were part of what they used to call the Greatest Generation.
Yes.
Which I think probably that's a lot of truth to that. And they.
Well, Tom Brokaw will agree. He wrote the book. Right.
They had been raised in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and I got to tell you, I was raised in the 50s. But the direction that they gave me and what they instilled in me, I think, really helped me growing into an adult. No question about it.
Okay, good for you. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor, and good luck. I like your program. Thank you
very
much.
Well, thank you for saying that. Yes.
Bye-bye now.
And I'm going to thank Bob for calling with his statement, which was very interesting, because that's what grandmothers love to do, is take care of kids. So his mother availed herself of that particular maternal help, without which he would be in a nursery school constantly, which is good. Nursery schools are good. You have to pair it, half a day nursery, half a day grandma. Wow, you can't get any better than that. And so I think that's part of it. Now, to get back to my watching signs, when somebody calls you and asks personal questions, ignore them. You say, I just can't talk about that right now, or it's not appropriate, or whatever you want to say, but don't give information. When you're told by someone that another party might sue you, ignore it. Say, see my attorney. When you're told that somebody would back your child if you wanted to help him sue your ex-spouse, don't listen to that. When hearing that your friends are backing for or against your child in the case, tell them to back off. When you suspect someone is fueling your child or the spouse of your child with lies and rumors, don't talk to them. Just stop talking. So what are the remedies for all of those bad things that could happen? People feeling that they have a business in your business. First of all, there's remedies. You limit the information you share. I'm sorry, I can't talk about that. It's against my attorney's wishes. That's one thing. Just don't talk about it. The second thing is to schedule a family meeting someplace with your family and his, or if you're a woman, or your family and hers if you're a guy, and talk about it the way I'm talking to you, that we can't use the blame game. We can't control what happened before. We have to plan for the future. We have to keep positive. Do all of those things, and remember the children have to come first. And if they hear the blame game, they're going to pick it up. Not their game. So get out of that game. Now, how are we going to find out what to do instead of that game? I have a great book here that I got in the library called How to Grandparent, and I want to review it for you. The man who wrote it is Dr. Fitzhugh Dodson, D-O-D-S-O-N, from Redondo Beach. He took out the copyright with Harper and Row, the publishers, in 1981. So we have a 31-year-old book, right? And what does he say? He says, you have to talk with your children. You have to learn how to talk to them. So ask questions to find out what your child wants. What's he learning in school? How does he feel about what he's learning? My son this morning said to me, I was at his house visiting, we're going to go to New York so the kids can see the Statue of Liberty, because they just learned American history in their classes. Why not? What better visit can you make with 14 and 13-year-old kids than the Statue of Liberty? And then the next one, Mother, he says, we're going to go to Washington, but we're going to do it one at a time. Okay, figure that out for your kids and do it. Here you go. That's Mikhail Rubin, by the way, playing his sax for you.